Meet Grunk Elina, first of her name, hater of ideas, and mother of destroying games. Hi everyone, All Things D&D is back with another story. Now, this is a true horror story. This is a person that wants to ruin D&D. Never forget what D&D is actually about, and please don't be this person in D&D or in real life. We'd love to hear your reaction after you listen to this. Sit down and buckle up, buccos. Keep your pearls ready and nearby to clutch, because today we hear the tale of Grunkalina. This is a slow burn, so bear with me and every chair or broken table that piles onto the growing bonfire. Grunkalina is the main character of this story, just as she would claim she was in every campaign, entirely due to the forceful wishing of her party, she assured. Was Grunkalina ever in a game I ran? Absolutely not. Was she a curse set upon my life sent from hell itself to punish me for my sins? Certainly. Today's story takes place and starts in the heart and home that we know as RPG Horror Stories' own Discord. Names are of course changed to help keep identities private. We often see influxes of new members, and the day Grunkalina joined wasn't unlike any other. We said hellos, things were fine. We thought they were fine. Why wouldn't they be? How foolish. Naivete clouded our pitiful lives. Nothing was fine, because we were wrong. Minutes in and we began to learn the errors of our ways. Something wasn't to Grunkalina's tastes, like D&D? Garbage, she said. Your own personal views? Stupid, she said. Repeated as necessary until all opposing views were yelled over. She didn't like people that weren't her, you see. Why did she join the group? To cause mass suffering, I assume. She had been in the group for maybe a couple hours just telling people they were wrong. Enough to throw in the towel and take a break, right? No. It was her first day, and she still hadn't consumed enough souls to return to hell for the night. She must feed on others she considered beneath herself, which was all of us. We knew things were getting weird. The odd comments she dropped spoke volumes, but we didn't want to judge right away. Some of us knew when we'd see her decide to personally slight each of us when the chance arose. Sometimes it was just what she felt like sharing. Grunkalina, I'm ashamed. I derailed or destroyed so many. We show visible confusion. What does she mean? She can't. Grunkalina, I've hijacked many campaigns. She does. She does mean what we think she means. But we need to know. We have to ask. In what way, we ask? Ended up BBEG. Interesting. Concerning. Always worked it with the thread owners, but legitimate you're not BBEGing correctly. Let me, she continued. Well, alright then. It won't be that bad if it's consensual with the GM, right? Right? We moved on, or rather, we tried. Grunkalina could sense we screwed up, and it was required that we learn how much. Cromslor had hopped into the beginner help channel to ask advice. A great idea, one might think. Knowledge is power. We all want to help. At least, we thought we all wanted to help. Not Grunkalina. Grunkalina wanted to take a dump on someone that day. Having asked for his help and brought up a game idea for his players which involved cheese, Grunkalina had a single question for Cromslor. Are you high? No one really thought much of it. It's just a silly comment, right? Right? Wrong. We're idiots. We cannot see the 4D chess Grunkalina is playing. She continues. This whole discussion is stupid and childish. She tells us we must move the discussion of ideas away from the chat that is designed for them, because she cannot fathom anyone running a game that isn't to her tastes. That the ideas aren't on topic because they aren't serious enough. She's not playing the game, of course, but she will not stand for something different. That's just wrong, and we are wrong. Here, first on-topic message in Lime 2 hours. Don't do dumb crap for random lulz that will get you on the sub, Grunkalina said. Are the players enjoying the game? Lantern asked. I've been told that I DM with an energy of pure chaos that makes every session feel special and extra fun, Cromslor said. Grunkalina, doubt. Try not to go too overboard and maintain communication with your players, Lantern suggested. Absolutely, I always put player enjoyment first. Or stop playing with 5th graders, Grunkalina cut in. I'm 22, and everyone else I play with is also about that age or older. Not mentally, obviously. Grunkalina continued to crap on people until the mod stepped in and called for her to stop. That was warning number 1 of the day. Yes, the first. Grunkalina was doing us a service by telling us how terrible we were. Another campaign idea came up elsewhere that disgusted Grunkalina. Ghosts. She gave it one read and declared that if she were to be a player, she'd get up and walk from the table, because it was too absurd to have ghosts in a game. Can you imagine? Ghosts with my owlbears and elves? Disgusting. And as she said, gross. She started to digress into trying to vaguely insult people, and the mods caught it yet again, giving warning number 2. During the warning, she continued to call the above ideas stupid because we were too mentally lacking to understand how right she was. Obviously, we're brain dead, and she's the last bastion of hope for humanity, our savior, a guiding light in the darkness. The first day had ended. We could breathe. We had survived with only a few casualties. Opening up a little bit more, she began to regale us with tales of how much of a party mom she is. No, not the drinking kind. The kind that when a party of adventurers would adventure, she was there, momming for them. And you see, this is where she mentions how unfortunate she is to be forced by all her player companions to become the main character of nearly every game she plays in. They just force her to take the leading role, and they chant how she's the party mom. What a story. Remember how she said she was also the BBEG in a majority of her games too? No odd vibes coming from that at all. She mentions it again when no one reacted before, about just how great it is party momming. So fun, she describes it. Still not odd. Nope. She goes on to be a hypocrite by saying that her one and only rule is having fun. Of course, when the previous topic in Beginner Help brought up how Cromsler's players were having fun, that was wrong, because it wasn't her kind of fun. Duh. How could we be so stupid? She's the party mom, guys. She knows what fun players are allowed to do today. She always knows because it's only what she thinks is fun. Conversation shifts. Days pass. People bring up their favorite races to play. Obviously, if you don't play anything with fur or scales, you're wrong. She explains as much. We're wrong again. She describes how playing human or dwarves or elves is wrong. It's boring, and she would rather gag on utensils, she says. You don't like sports yourself? You may be catching on at this point. You're wrong. Sports are godly, and if you don't like them, you're wrong. Time to insult people yet again, that they aren't fun like she is, the party mom, the maker of fun. She just told you your opinion, and if you mention having a thought of any kind at all, she'll tell you no one wants to hear it. She will roll her emoji eyes at you, because you're too stupid to realize you're wrong. Stop being wrong and you would not be punished. Crow comes by to talk about his city, and she helps us to see the light. She, having never been there, declares what the city is actually like to the very local that she's speaking to, and tells Crow the truth. He obviously doesn't know, for he's too stupid and she is too smart. She understands all and has watched a YouTube video on the topic, thus confirming her as the only expert on the planet. We know nothing. We bow at her superiority. She can recreate history and geography in a single sentence. She must be God. It was after this that out of nowhere, she dropped the line, "I don't apologize for shit." Weird way of saying you're a massive a-hole, but okay. She's gone a few days without directly crapping on anyone. It's nice. It seems like the warnings really helped to correct her behavior. Perhaps she's learning and nope, the massive asshole berg resurfaces again. I was discussing my non-magical reflavoring of 5e to match modern-based games. Where magic for classes still exist, they're just rewritten to match the current technology of the desired setting. A fireball is a grenade and so on. Simple. Others and myself were talking about how it worked, and how we all hated the idea of others just snipping magic out of 5e and calling it a day. Grunkalina's different opinion nerve is struck. She must speak up. You, do a lot of mirror gazing then, mate? Grunkalina thinks she's funny, and is showing me how much of an idiot I am. She tries to say that I was snipping magic out among other untrue claims, just so I could be wrong. She claims that you cannot reword magic at all. That's impossible and wrong. I must be, because I'm not Grunkalina, and only Grunkalina can ever be right. Grunkalina is not prepared for how much I was ready for her to start something. I call her out, and talk about how all her comments up till that point have been purely antagonistic and cruel, just like she is. Others immediately join in too, bringing up how she apparently did not read any prior conversation. Deacon tells her how she must be in the same category as a self-confessed sock puppet troll. Error. Reaction not found. She immediately calls for the moderators. More people join in. They call for the rudeness to stop, both me and her. Fair. I was out to cause damage, just as she was. We should both bear witness to the staff's ruling. Grunkalina claims she's not being rude at all. No one agrees with her. Grunkalina claims how she's being victimized. She says she's irritated that she has to agree with me or I put on my angry pants. I don't even need to speak anymore. People explain that no, it's not about agreeing. It's about her being an absolute jerk to everyone and then crying wolf if they call her out on her soul-sucking parasitic endeavors. They ask for her to just be civil. She ignores it and claims she's not a sanity leech. People assure her that she is. Mods discuss muting her, but she gleefully exclaims that it doesn't work. Warning number 3 waxes and wanes. Retreating for a bit and licking her wounds for the week, Grunkalina tries to go on the down low for a bit, but cannot help herself. She immediately starts to fight with someone else because they don't agree with her. We must all have on our angry pants, it seems, because no one can get along with her. Perhaps it's because we're all too stupid to understand or converse with her. Peasants beneath her genius. We're scum. How terrible it is to live such a terrible existence. People are at that time in chat and discussing their disabilities. They're calmly talking about what shortcomings they have and sharing in their struggles in a constructive manner. Everyone is accepting and kind and generous. Grunk Elina thinks it's the perfect time to drop. This is rapidly devolving into a pity party. The mods have enough of her dismissing others' lives and experiences, and Grunk Elina is immediately kicked. Happy server noises. Everyone congratulates the mods and thanks them for getting rid of the gremlin. Deacon has been collecting evidence on every terrible conversation she started, and it was condemning. We feel peace. The thanks continues on for almost an hour. Grunkalina rejoins mid-celebration. She says nothing. Finally, the bottomless pit of antagonism has found a plug, and it turns out that the item needed was humble pie. Karma exists. It takes a bit, but Grunkalina speaks again, to this time on what she considers as fake moral support. She doesn't like it when she makes a self-shaming comment in public, and someone says something nice. How dare someone try to be kind? That's wrong. But it's totally acceptable to put someone in an awkward position by saying inappropriate comments to a stranger. Yet again, the world can't keep up with her intelligence because they just continue to be stupid and wrong. Having sucked the life from that topic, she returned to disabilities. As it turns out, she has some of her own, and this time she feels like talking about it without being rude. Maybe it's because she's finally the center of this conversation. Obviously, it's a crime against humanity to exist outside her bubble. This must be why she thought it was acceptable to hate on other disabled people. She just couldn't figure out how to shoehorn herself in that conversation. Don't get me wrong, talking about mental health is important, but it was very apparent that she didn't give a damn about others' mental health. After being previously kicked, Grunk Elina semi-returned to normal. She mentions being a party mom and how she knows many things and that they are often the right things. We are wrong. Fortunately, she's not directly attacking people and life is great. She's made progress to now literally say, "You're wrong, but valid opinion." It's around maybe 3 weeks into joining the server that she tries to change her name and picture to pretend to be someone else. But knowing exactly how she acts, everyone immediately catches on. Eventually, a topic of Fallout comes up. Some of us like the games but don't love them. This makes Grunkalina angry. She calls our 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 ratings with a calm discussion as unfair hatred, and our reasons not very strong. Because we aren't allowed to have varying tastes or opinions or lives. We are shadows to Grunkalina, and we exist only for her. She drops from the conversation, only to occasionally inject how she says she can't have an opinion or she'll get another kick or warning, and how unfair it is. She adds what she thinks we rabid fanboys are like, and that we must hate Bethesda, because it's cool, because there's no other option, regardless of us never claiming any such thing of any relationship. She pretends to take things in stride, returning again to any topic to insert how much of a party mom she is. Just such a partier and a mom. Not a literal mother, just party mom, tee-hee. It was at this time that it was very apparent to everyone that Grunkalina was an MLP furry. Nothing wrong about being a furry, like what you like. Grunkalina, however, had an issue with one horror story involving furries. Someone had a furry make them uncomfortable. Grunkalina claimed that being a furry had nothing to do with that guy of the story being awful. Which is true. Her argument was, the true color of the shirt doesn't reflect on the person, and that no one deserves to be punished for the color of their shirt. Great, we all agree. No more than 10 minutes later, someone else brings up a new horror story. This time, the horror story involves a fandom Grunkalina doesn't like. She says how the color of the shirt of that person is awful, and that person should be punished for liking something she doesn't. She demands they be killed in-game as punishment. The hypocrisy is brought up to her. She doubles down and claims that they deserve it for having such bad taste. She claims it's not the same thing, as her fandom is obviously more important and tragic, and that people are making up things to attack her because she's just such a victim. People move on. We try to forget. Everyone is getting sick of her endless garbage. It hasn't even been a full month, and no one wants to include her in conversations because she just shoehorns herself in to be a parasitic flesh devourer. She then makes the innocuous comment, "I'm pretty genial, nice, and tend to be quiet." This is a lie if I've ever seen one. I say no words, only emotions, as I quote her with a shocked Pikachu face. She doesn't reply. The conversation shifts to someone discussing a horror story they were in that involves rape. The speaker was obviously highly uncomfortable in the game when it was played, and was new to the group and just trying to share. But Grunkalina thought it was the perfect time to try to assert how right she was. She told the new guy how his inaction was wrong, and how he should have stopped the rape in the game, and that he was right behind the in-game rapist in scale of blame. How dare he be in an uncomfortable situation and be terrified and horrified? How dare he? He should have known better than to exist and to have feelings of his own. I call her out for victim blaming, and the cracks appear. Deacon has, at this time, already piled on evidence after evidence to the mods of her behavior. She fake agrees, then jumps to trying to call me out for not putting up with her crap. How awful it is that I'm a rock that will not move. During her new rampage, she snaps at the new guy she was previously blaming. Staff sees. The straw that broke the demon camel's back. There are seconds left before the end. The response is quick. I don't think she felt any pain. People weren't even aware that it happened until they heard whispers of it in passing. Inklings of the final moments. That Grunkalina was finally banished back to the bottomless abyss of hell, where it's believed she is still lording over as the BBEG main character party mom. The only rule is that everyone needs to be having her definition of fun, obviously. I feel sorry for anyone that had to play a game with Grunkalina. I can't imagine how awful it must have been. Have you ever played with a Grunkalina? Please let us know what you think and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, All Things D&D. Our next video will be posted in 3 days, so stay tuned for more amazing Dungeons & Dragons content.